Welcome everyone, Farmer Cop here. This is going to be a guide to nitrogen when it comes to your fields in precision farming. This is the same thing as fertilization when it comes to precision farming as well. Now, there's a lot to this, okay? There's absolutely a lot to this. So I'm going to try to cover all of it without missing anything, but there is a lot. This is probably the most complicated part of precision farming, is getting your nitrogen levels just right. And honestly, it's not that this is complicated to do. There's just a lot of different ways to do it, so I want to make sure I cover all those ways so you know what your options are and you can get the best score possible. And when I mean best score, I mean environmental score. So first things first, there are several ways to add nitrogen to your field. One is to plant oilseed radish and then plow it under or cultivate it under. I did a separate video on that, so you can check that out. I will put a card up on your screen right now that'll take you to the oilseed radish video if you want to check that out. So make sure you do that. But anyhow, yes, there are a lot of ways to fertilize in the base game, so of course there's a lot of ways to add nitrogen in the precision farming. So obviously we can spray liquid fertilizer, which I have that back here, a sprayer back here with that. We can also spread solid fertilizer with a spreader, so we have those options. Then for organic, we can spread manure with a manure spreader, or we can spread digestate or slurry with the slurry tanker. So those are more ways to do it. The other way we can add fertilizer and nitrogen to our field is also using a seeder that also puts down fertilizer at the same time, which works out pretty well as well. So yes, I want to make sure I have my soil sample purchased for this. Yep, okay, we got that. I'm actually going to purchase this one as well. I'll explain why in a bit, or show why in a second. So we have some, I believe it's wheat that I have growing here. Yeah, or barley, sorry. We have barley growing right here, which is totally fine. I have tram lines turned off for this video here. I did a separate video on that, so you can check that out if you want to know more about tram lines. But if you're wondering why I'm not using tram lines, I just didn't want to deal with it for this. But yes, so the pH value is actually good on this one. Nitrogen is bad, though. The nitrogen needs to be at 140 kilograms per hectare, which is a problem. Now, there's a couple ways to get nitrogen down. The one, and I talked about this a little bit with the variable seed rate video and planting. Again, this can put it down automatically as you're going over a field. So if I put wheat down and I wanted to plant wheat over top of this wheat, which is just what I'm going to do to demonstrate, it should, in general, give you a pretty close to accurate nitrogen value just behind us as we're planting. So if I hop out, come back here, nitrogen is pretty close to perfect. It's actually a little bit too high. It says it's good there. So it's not exactly accurate. I found that the planter or the seeders that put it down at the same time aren't completely accurate. It's still a good way to do it. So theoretically, once you go over it with the seeder, you should be kind of good to go on your nitrogen. But if you want to get the best environmental score, you have to do some different things. The environmental score requires you to do a couple different things to be able to get that best score. And I'll be honest with you, I think the environmental score is a little broken. If we go into the menu here and I go to help menu and I go over to precision farming, down here it explains the environmental score, and I'll talk a little bit this more in a different video in more detail. And it walks you through all the steps to get the highest score, and I followed all these steps to a T, and the highest score I've been able to get is 88 on any field. So you can't get 100, it seems, right now. But when it comes to nitrogen, it says the score will change depending on the fertilization. The max score of 30, which is what we're trying to get, can only be reached if you use manure sensor for organic fertilization and the crop sensor for the mineral fertilization. So you have to do two applications, and over-fertilization will obviously decrease it, so will under-fertilization. So what that means is in order to get the best possible outcome, you have to use a slurry tanker with the sensor built in, not a manure spreader, a slurry tanker for liquid manure. And you have to use this guy right over here. Well, you have to use the crop sensor of some kind, either with solid or liquid fertilizer over here. Or I guess manure might be able to do it a little bit. But yeah, manure essentially, you just go over it. It's going to put down a fixed rate of fertilizer. So if I drive over to this field, let me just show off manure real quick, and then we can talk about everything else. If I unfold this, get this ready to go, and I come up to this field over on the edge here, it's going to put 80 kilograms per hectare down. I can't change that. If I change the automatic off, I can bump it up a little bit, and I can adjust that a little bit if I like to, and you can do that sort of stuff there. Let's go ahead and try the automatic and see if it actually keeps up with it, because that hasn't how it's been in the past. So if I have that, is it going to keep up with it? Is it going to change it? Oh, it is a little bit. Okay, that's kind of nice. So it looks like with the new version of precision farming, the manure doesn't just add down a fixed rate. It looks like it can actually adjust a little bit. But the problem with it is it's not actually giving us, I think, the best possible results. Let me turn that off, actually. So if I go back here, how's our nitrogen looking? It's good, but it's not yeah, it only did add, it did add a fixed rate across the whole field. So even though it said it was doing a variable rate, it is just like it was before. It looks like it's added pretty much a fixed rate across that field for the most part. So, yeah, you know, it did something to the nitrogen, but I don't think it's what we're kind of going for. You can see it doesn't look real good. It's not good for what we're after for our crop. So yeah, the manure you can put down if you want to do that, but the best way to do it is using the liquid manure. And when you go to buy a liquid manure spreader to do digestate or slurry, you go in here, what you're going to want to do is get a sensor, which you have to get one of the ones that has it, which this one does not have the ability to do that. So this one, for example, does. You need the John Deere manure sensing, so you can do that. And I don't think it's available on any of these. Let me see. I checked them all earlier, I thought. I just want to make sure. Yeah, so there's not any sensors you can get for these guys. You can get a different spreader system for that one, I suppose, but there's not like the automatic sensor, so I don't think that you can do it with those. But you want to get one of these guys that has the ability to do the John Deere sensing. That's going to give you the best results. And then what you want to do is do that first, because this isn't going to complete the fertilization on there. But what it is going to do is get us pretty close. So if I lower that down, I turn that on, I should be applying, oh, I'm not, it's not on, there we go. Now I should be applying some fertilizer down there, which I am, but it shouldn't get us to the perfect level there. So if I do that, I'm just going to stop right there. That's totally fine. If I go back and take a look at the nitrogen levels back here, it's good, but it's not perfect. So to get it perfect, we got to do another step, which means we got to put down solid fertilizer or liquid fertilizer on the field. Now, the solid fertilizer and liquid fertilizer, you can set it to automatically get exactly what you need down in the field, which is perfect. This one will do the trick just fine. If I go out here and I leave it on the automatic rate, which you can do it manually, but I wouldn't recommend doing that, and I turn it on, it should be putting out quite a bit of fertilizer just the way it needs to. For the specific area, you can see it's putting out maybe a little bit too much on some areas because we already went over it, which isn't necessarily what we want. So for some of these, it's probably going to be a little overdone. Yep, there's a little, it's good because there's still a good amount on there, but it's overdone. But if we go over here, it's going to be perfect right over here in this area right here. We got the perfect amount. But the reason it's imperfect here is because we already put down something over top of that, which was the manure. Now, if we go over this, it should be a little bit better, but still not ideal. The best thing to do is to use the slurry spreader, which if I can scroll over to here, this guy right here, and then follow it with this guy right here. Now, there's a crop sensor on the front of this. This one right here will work during daytime and nighttime. You can find this in the store under miscellaneous right here. It's part of the mod, so you don't have to worry about installing it separately. You can add weights to it now if you'd like to, which is pretty cool. This one works day and night. If you are only doing stuff in the day and you wanted to do something a little bit simpler, on any one of the tractors in the game, you can add the Iceria Pro Compact. So it has these little sensors on here which do the same thing. However, these guys only work during the daytime, so that's the main difference there. I don't have those on here, but for this one, I have everything I need on it. And this is going to make it work really well. Now, I'm not going to talk about pulse width modulation in this video. I'm going to go over that in section control in a different video, but I do have pulse width modulation equipped on the sprayer, which is what you need to get the best score as well and get the best things done for your field. So I'm going to get that unfolded. I'm going to get the sprayer, or excuse me, the crop sensor unfolded. Alt-B turns on the crop sensor there, so make sure your crop sensor's on. And then I'm going to turn on the rear here once it gets unfolded. All right, there, that's all. Everything is on right now. And now as I go across, it's not putting anything down because it's perfect. It's putting actually a little bit down on the edge there. So all this either has too much or is perfect, but as soon as I go over to an area that actually needs it, it's a little bit difficult to see, but you can see it put down a little bit of fertilizer on there. And if you look down at the bottom left-hand corner at our map, you can see it's doing a very good job at getting a very even spread of what's going on. Now, if I turn off that crop sensor, it's going to change things a little bit. So if I turn that off, I go forward, it shouldn't be as effective. We'll see if it actually matters. The pulse width modulation is also making it more effective, so it may actually not change things a whole lot, and it doesn't look like it really is right now. But you'll need both of these to be able to get the best score on the field in terms of the nitrogen. Again, I've never been able to get a perfect score. If I'm doing something wrong, obviously let me know. But again, it's been, from what Giants has advertised as well, and from what they've told us, is it's going to be a lot more difficult to get a perfect score than it was before. Because it used to be pretty pretty clear cut to get a perfect score. It just seems like it's a lot more difficult this time, and I have been unable to get a perfect score, even following their instructions to a T. But as you can see, everywhere we've gone over, that value is absolutely perfect when it comes to nitrogen down in the bottom right-hand corner there. Absolutely perfect everywhere we've gone with the sprayer. Absolutely perfect. So there you go. That's how you get nitrogen down on the field. Again, I used to just use the seeder and do it that way. And to get a perfect score in the past, you didn't have to do liquid manure and stuff like that. But they say you do for this one, so maybe you do, maybe you don't. But I would recommend doing it if you want to get a perfect score. I think in a perfect world, all you really need to do is either use the seeder or use the sprayer with the pulse width modulation and that sensor on the front, or one of the sensors that you can equip the tractor with. And I think those are kind of the best practices for doing your nitrogen on your field. But anyhow, that's what I got for you guys. Those are the different ways you can put fertilizer or nitrogen down on your fields in precision farming. If you guys enjoyed this video, please drop a like down below. If you haven't already, hit that subscribe button up on the screen to join the Farmer Cop channel and turn your notification bell so you don't miss any future videos I may post. This has been Farmer Cop. Thank you guys for coming and for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one.